What have you been reading? Or what do you like?
Dude, everything. So speaking of podcasting, like most of my reading is just whoever's coming up next.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
podcast, so.
That is nice because it forces you to read new books
Yeah.
that you probably ordinarily would take like a long time to get away from.
Yeah. So I just went back and read some of Cal's stuff. Read his new one, and then I'm interviewing Noah tomorrow. So I just
Noah Kagan?
Yeah. So
We had that around. He was here. He did
over.
like a thing at the store.
It's down here. It's the bright green.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I actually need to finish.
Have you
it.
read Die With Zero? I've been raving about that lately.
Yeah. Actually, my wife's reading that right now.
Really?
And it's blowing her mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. Gets you thinking about a lot of interesting stuff.
He's going to come in. Did you end up going? So people don't know, we're in this sort of writing group that met before the pandemic that was Shane Parrish,
James
Clear, before he'd done any books.
Tim Urban.
Near.
His
book is here. Hooked. Steve Cam, you, me. I think we're forgetting some. David Epstein.
Yeah, David. Yep.
For Range. Did you go?
No.
Okay.
It's actually this coming weekend.
Oh, right. That's why I'm not going. Yeah. It's spring break.
Yeah.
Shane's book is good.
Yeah, I still need to have him on.
Yeah, he came out. He did it.
Yeah. Did you read the Michael Lewis one?
Oh, Going Infinite?
Yeah.
So good.
Is it?
I think people gave him
so much shit.
Yeah, he fillets the dude. He comes off as a complete clown.
Really?
Yeah, totally. The only thing, his somewhat contrarian argument is, like, okay, first off, he spent about $5 billion in investments.
Yeah.
And one of them, he invested in was it Morpic or what the big AI company that's now worth like $1 trillion.
Right.
So like that one investment
is going to make up for
So like it's hard. His argument is like at the end of the day, there may not be that much fraud there.
Yeah.
Which is not in any way a clearing him. It's just that it's not like $40 billion didn't evaporate or whatever. That it's a little different. But he comes off as a great example of a person who's very smart but also a moron.
Yeah,
like
totally.
He doesn't read. He thinks he knows everything. He doesn't think personal or soft skills matter. He's actually a horrendous manager. He's not on top. Like, so he comes off as someone who. I thought the book was really interesting. I liked it. And then you're just watching one of the greatest of all time. He could write about, there's a Malcolm Gladwell blurb where it's like, if I found out Michael Lewis wrote a book about staplers, I would read that book. And like, it's true, I would read him about anything.
Lewis got destroyed because he gave a 60 Minutes interview and defended SBF on it. And
the interview was not great.
Yeah.
But it's not the book.
It was a bad look. I actually just read a news story recently that said that SBF has been giving his prison guards crypto trading advice, and the prison guards are already up like 10x.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I was like, that's awesome.
No, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Cool. I'm going to use him in the wisdom book as like an example of a smart, stupid person. Musk being another great example of that.
Yeah.
Of a person whose brain is apparently so open or whose mind is so open that their brain falls
Well,
apart.
it's also Musk is a great example of like domain brilliance.
Yes,
right?
of course. What else? Did the Montaigne book come in yet? Do you know, Tristan? We don't? God damn it. So the weirdness of the bookstore is that a lot of the books that I really love are not super popular, and so they are constantly out of print. And it's hard to get them. Like this, I've been raving about this book, which I think you would like it's a biography of Pontius Pilate.
Oh, wow.
Which, like, you don't think of as a guy who had a shitty job.
Yeah, right.
He's just the governor of a province of the Roman Empire, and there's like a troublemaker in it. And we don't know that much about him. Yeah. But like she's the obituaries editor for the Economist. So she's like a really interesting writer. And it's like one of the greatest biographies I've ever read in my life.
Really?
So good. Huh. And it's a good example. Like, multiple times he tries to do the right thing, but it would have required just like 10% more spine.
Yeah.
Like he kept trying, like, because basically at the end he says like, you guys decide.
He tried to let Jesus go.
Yes,
Yeah.
but and then at the end he goes,
all right.
you guys do it. You know what I mean? He says, I wash my hands of it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's where the expression comes from. But like if he had just if he just said like, my job is to make the decision.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of people are not going to be happy with the decision. Like all of history might have turned out differently.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, she does talk about it, which I don't think about from a biblical standpoint, which is like, or is he the fall guy? Because the prophecy was that he would come and be put to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had to do it. So he actually didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like he was just the guy. Like his number came up and God said, you have, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so the other way is that like, it couldn't have happened any other way. And so I don't know. It's really interesting. I love that book. I think you'll like it. Trying to think what else. What else what have you been into? Or have you read any of these recently?
What have I read recently?
Ooh, okay. Talk about the best way to understand the present is to read from a long time ago. Do you know who Jan Morris is? So Jan Morris was, what's his name? What's his actual name? Is it, James Morris? Is the journalist who climbs Everest with Hillary. He is the great historian of the British Empire. And then in like what year is it? 1960, 1970, gets gender reassignment surgery, like realizes.
Super early, yeah.
Yeah. But so it's a memoir of what it is like to be trans, but from like 3 generations or multiple generations before any of the things that have now made that discussion toxic. You know?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, this is just what, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh, this is what it's actually like and how hard it would be and what you would feel and all of these things.
Yeah.
But none of the political, none of the culture war stuff. It's just, and you can't possibly say that like, this wasn't a dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who like this was like a man's man who's in the army, like all this stuff, but like deep down knew he was someone and something else. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
It's one of the best books I read last year.
I've been reading a lot of business shit lately.
Because
I've been
of the podcast, or?
I've been hiring a lot.
Oh.
So I'm like hitting that point where I'm like,
Sure.
I should like kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to
Yeah, like people.
dealing with people, managing.
What have you liked? Because that's a section I don't have a lot of great books.
I just finished Ben Horowitz's The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
That book's great.
Yeah, I really like that one. I read some of Drucker stuff, which
Have you read The Daily Drucker?
I've not.
That was the inspiration for The Daily Stoic. 'Cause
Really?
My agent Steve did that book.
No
because
shit.
Yeah, you go like people know Peter Drucker is a leadership expert, but like
Yeah.
they're like, where do you start?
Yeah.
And there isn't like a class. It's not like if you're like, I want to read Jim Collins, you read Good to Great. That's his like classic book. There isn't one for Peter Drucker.
Yeah.
And so you could get the wrong one. And so he was like, why don't we just do 1 page a day of the best stuff?
Yeah.
And it was a huge hit. And so that's when he suggested the Daily Stoic. That's the model he was using because he had done it as a publisher.
Wow.
So it's pretty good. You might like that.
Nice.
I don't flip through it enough, but I should. No Asshole Roll is good.
Is this like bonus footage of you pitching me books to buy from your bookstore?
So we do this. It's so funny. We do this every time. Like,
Yeah,
the whole point of the bookstore is like, I love all these books. Like, these aren't like we should have. If this was like a regular bookstore, none of these books would be in it, probably, or some of them would be, but most of them would not be in it, and we'd have way more books. Like a bookstore this size should have 15,000 books in it.
Yeah.
Like titles,
Sure.
not inventory.
Yeah.
And so it's mostly like I love all the books. So you could ask me any one, I'd tell you why it's amazing.
Yeah.
But so we do this, like we just go, we just started doing it, I recommend it, and then they'd like walk up at the end and try to pay, and I was like, I did not just trick you on camera into buying 7 books or whatever.
I didn't think you were gonna make me pay for
No,
it.
when Admiral McRaven was here, he was like, no, I'm gonna pay, and I was like, well, But I wasn't picking the books based on like what I think you should buy. I was just saying, like, I was just picking all my favorite. Like, I maybe wouldn't buy this one if I was paying for it, like because I think you just might get one thing out of it. So yes, I'm not. This isn't me on camera bullying you into buying.